Hi, welcome back. My name's Jamie, and this is Journey Life Now. And this reading's for Gemini for October 2025. Before I get into the cards, I do want to talk about a few things that are kind of important this month. There's a full moon in Aries, but the full moon in Aries, actually the theme started back in March. So think back to what was happening around in March. It had to do with your 11th house, right? It's what you envision. It has to do with your friendships, with your social circles, like your support networks, how you identify yourself within a group, any long-term goals or visions, how you can come together to make a difference, right? Like groups. And this started back in March, right? And the interesting thing about that time, though, is that Venus also, it's called the new Venus, right? And that happened a few days before, right? So this new cycle of how you identify yourself within relationships, right? That also was interesting because it happened right across from Libra, right? Your fifth house, which happens to be the new moon this month as well. So it all kind of like comes together, okay? So then what happened was like around, I would say June-ish, right? You set these goals in the end of March. June comes around, and you've made some progress or you've tried something, right? So you've put effort into it, into moving towards the thing that you had planted, right? And now here we are. Right now it's come full circle. And right now is the time for you to see the results of the efforts you have put in, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that the results are amazing or the results are bad. They're just results, right? And right now, there's a light being shined on them to show you whether or not you like what you see, right? And if you don't, get rid of it, because you have another 3 months, right, to kind of wrap things up, right, to bring things full circle. So that's kind of like, that's important, right? So right now, full moon, okay, yes, I'll keep this, and this, but nah, that I'm going to get rid of. So that's kind of the way it works, right? And then, so that's the full moon, right? Then on that same day, Mercury enters Scorpio, of your sixth house. Your sixth house. So, I would say be careful-ish the way you communicate, right? It can be interesting, but on top of that, right? So Mercury, if taken there, right, it goes deep, but you start to question, right? You start to think about ideas and things that you can do, right? As far as like starting like maybe new health routines, right? New diet, new exercise program, how you service people, right? The service that you provide to people in this lifetime, right? Your job, right? And it has to do with the way you communicate with your coworkers. So that's a thing, right? That's a theme for this month. And then you have a new moon in Libra in your fifth house. Sorry, I got something in my and that has to do with asking yourself, how do you love, right? How do you love your creative projects, right? Dating, that's a big thing. What you find pleasure in, right? You might start getting serious about dating. So you might sign up for a dating app, maybe something you haven't done before. Maybe some of you will start thinking about starting a family and whatever that looks like, right? Some of you may start to sit there and try to analyze what talents you guys have and how you can present it to the world, right? But not in massive groups, but smaller groups, right? Think about like you're on a stage and you're the actor, you're the main actor, and the spotlight's on you, right? So things like that, like themes like that. But it all comes full circle. It truly does. So then what you notice is by the end of, I would say, January, right? Capricorn season ish, right? You have the last quarter to the new moon that started in March, right? So there you're like, okay, here we go. That ends that cycle, whatever you started in March, right? Again, not that the project that you started ends. No, that's not what I'm saying, right? But you get like traction, if that's the way you want to move forward. If this doesn't suit you, you release it, right? But it's about like being okay with whatever you started, right? In March. But then during that time, it's also the first quarter for the new moon, right? So it's about checking in on the seeds that you planted in the end of October, right? And kind of what you're doing to make sure that you're working towards it, right? So that's kind of how these cycles go, right? So it's not these cycles, and that's why like you have 100 million things happening in all different parts of your life, right? But that's how it works. These are cycles, and then it's like you end one, you start one, you're in the middle of this, like, and if anybody's gonna understand that, you are Gemini, right? But it's beautiful, okay? So again, this reading's for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of October 2025. Let's see what other messages there are, okay? This is very therapeutic, just so you know. I'm third. Okay, here we go. The themes. The themes. Okay, my love. So here we go. Very interesting. There's a lot of things happening right now. Okay, I'm gonna need you guys to be careful with the gossiping, right? Keep gossiping down to a minimum, because the gossiping that's happening right now for you guys, is not helping you heal, right? It's not helping you shine. So let's say, for instance, right, you want to, I don't know, you want to become CEO of a company, right? And the thing is, you have the credentials, right? You have the experience, but you talk too much, right? So shh, pack up. Also what it says is like, don't share your dreams with people, right? Because although you think sometimes these people have good intentions, they actually don't. It can also mean like, you're not going to have all the information right away. So don't speak until you gather everything, because there's something that you don't know that's kind of incomplete, okay? So that's kind of hindering two things. You from being able to heal, right? And move forward. You being able to be seen, right? And become like a superstar. Because for a lot of you, it's about this generational wealth, right? This material legacy that you want to leave, that you want to work on, right? This family business, this abundance, right? And it's there. I promise you it's there, right? Because you've been balancing out your finances, right? You've been figuring things out. You've been working really, really hard on that. Right now though, what kind of the theme of the month is that you're working too much, right? And you're putting too many things on your back, right? There's a heavy load, right? You're tired. You're burnt out. And when you're burnt out, you sometimes get how can I say this? A little mouthy, right? Sometimes like you know how sometimes like you're so tired you speak nonsense because you're literally that exhausted, right? So that can be a theme, so don't do that. And also, you know, like these things that you want to create, right? These relationships, because there's relationships, there's two, there's a lot of juggling, there's a lot of twos. You need energy for, right? And you're burnt out. So here's the thing. If Gemini, oh my God, you guys, right? You probably have about 10 things going on, right? It's telling you not give it all up because you can't. That's not how you function, right? You're like the twos. You always need two of something. You can't just be one will bore you, right? It's telling you, okay, fine. If you have to, let's cut it down to two. Let's take two and let's try to figure that out, right? Because you need to stop all the other projects you're doing right now, right? Because what you're doing is like you're taking your energy and you're scattered brain, right? And it's not beneficial. So there's someone you are going to meet this month, right? There's, again, that can be romantic person, right? Or it can be, someone that becomes like your soulmate, right? Like this connection. There's this connection that happens. And, you know, honestly, for a lot of you that have been looking for love, right? And for that relationship, this month may be the month that it comes, that it truly, truly, truly comes, right? But there is someone that you might meet that's not the person, right? That's not the person at all. And I need you to just like become aware of that, right? That's not the person. There's maybe news of a pregnancy around you that becomes relevant. Or if some of you want to get pregnant, you get pregnant. If some of you are wondering a gender, it's a boy. I don't know. But there is two things, right? And this month is huge. This month is huge because there's a decision that has to be made, right? There's a decision that has to be made. It's a very difficult decision and it's everywhere, right? But it's something that you've worked really hard for. There's like, again, like a soulmate connection, something really, really, really important, okay? This month it's actually super beautiful, super duper duper beautiful. Just partnership is important, but it's the right type of partnership that's important, not just any partnership, right? And you guys cannot be friends with everyone, right? Although you want everyone to love you and like you, right? Oh, but that's a tough one, right? Because if you do, then are you always being yourself, right? If every single person on this earth likes you, or every single person that came across you, right? You know, you say the things you want to say to make them feel better, but not necessarily like how you feel. At the end of the day, you have to live with you, not with them, right? So always keep that in mind. Okay, I'm gonna do these cards. They're Lenormand cards, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's okay. Just to see about maybe some type of relevant, important event that takes place, right? Guys. Okay. Dang. So, there's a gathering. There's a party, there's a baby shower, there's a wedding, there's something that happens, but it's not going to happen. And it has to do with love. Okay, check this. If you have a date, and you're supposed to go to a concert, or you're supposed to go to I don't know, out to dinner, to the park, amusement park, wherever, I feel like this is like connected to someone that you love, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. No. Mm-mm. No, it does not happen. Okay, these cards are the Mystical Wisdom card deck, which I love as well. I've had them for years. They're so pretty. Let's see. Like, truly so beautiful. Archangel Raphael, provider of healing for mind, body, and spirit. Bring it all together, people. Bring it all together. Right? Healing. Call on your angels. Pray to God. You've done a lot of work. This time of the year is time to, look at everything that you've put energy and effort into up until this point and see if it's all been worth it. And the point is, what's not, get rid of it, right? But it's that triangle. I don't know what kind of shape. Triangle? Yeah. Triangle, okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. Please like, subscribe, leave comments. Anything that you resonated with, keep. Anything you didn't, baby girl, baby boy, throw it away. Doesn't belong to you, okay? Take it with a grain of salt. Bye. Love you. Have a wonderful October.